Welcome to the British Online School podcast, where today we're going to be discussing education and traveling the world. To do so, we are going to be joined by Babe, Where's My Passport? Originally a duo who quit everything to travel the world and record it all on YouTube. However, they have recently become a trio with the birth of their beautiful baby, Brooke. So thank you very much for joining us today, Graeme and Theodora.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
So if we can begin right from the very beginning of sort of your story. You've both had a life before this traveling and YouTubing. Graeme, I know you've been in the army, you were a bodybuilder, you both went to university, you got first class honours degree in business, and now you've made the decision to travel the world and try and live from YouTube. What made you make that choice?
Oh, good question. So yeah, we actually went to university a little bit later on in our life. So I was 23, 24, and Theodora was about 21, 22. We had like quite a big gap year or years. But yeah, through traveling, prior to doing travel on YouTube, we obviously were in Australia and Asia, and we kind of, through all those experiences, we kind of thought, we actually like doing things with travel and international business. And that's actually what we studied at university, international business studies. And yeah, in the end, we were actually interior designers, which is a totally different, subject. And after a few years of doing that, we were just kind of like, I can say, is this our end goal, or do we want to actually do something else? I'm not quite sure how we got into interior design. That's how life
just happens sometimes.
And
we said, like, what is our wildest dream? Like, we're 30 now. What are we doing? Are we gonna stick, or are we gonna like chase the biggest dream of all?
Yes.
And what is that?
And yeah, we just came. Obviously, YouTube was taken off, already taken off. And had we started YouTube back when we first started traveling in 2007-8, we would have been, well on our way.
Yeah.
But it's never more from that story. It's never too late to start.
No.
Whether it's university, YouTube, anything else in life. So yeah, we said, right, 1 year goal. We're going to save up our money, sell all our stuff, and we're going to start YouTube, and we're just going to travel and do videos, and hopefully at the end of it we can make money doing that. And we've been doing that for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
Obviously COVID hit, and just before COVID we were it was like the turning point where we're starting to make some good money with collaborating with brands and hotels and all different kind of products and stuff. And yeah, COVID hit, so that will kind of a little bit of a roadblock for many people, obviously.
Well, I must admit, I'd like to say that I was part of your interior design business for a little bit. I got stuck in an elevator with you for half an hour during one.
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
I remember.
But so what was that final part where obviously you kept saying you were going to do it, kept saying you're going to do it? What was that final thought or moment or occasion where you actually just said, "Do you know what? Enough's enough. Let's go now"?
Yeah, I think when we started after uni, we had obviously lots of like interviews lined up and everything, and we were thinking of going into the city in London to work and take the traditional path. And then we decided to go our own business doing interior design. And that was, the chase was really good in the beginning, like, oh gosh, we got a client, it's happening. But then in the end, we found that it wasn't really our passion. It was like a way to work for ourselves. And we were taking so much risk, working so hard for, if you were to be honest, quite a mediocre life. Like, we were making ends meet. You drive a car, you go for dinner sometimes, maybe a holiday, but it wasn't more than that. So once you got like your finances sort of covered, it wasn't giving us any extra satisfaction, wasn't it?
I don't think that pure passion in the end. After a few years, we weren't like, this isn't as sexy as we thought it would be, as a business.
Yeah, it was actually, we created a job for ourselves. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't enjoying it anymore, and we were like, is this really, what we truly want in our hearts? And that's really what
we got
made
kind
us
of
us.
we were looking into investing in property, and that's why we went into the interior design to add an extra stream of income. But that led us into interior design, but that wasn't necessarily the end goal. And obviously we found that out by doing that for three-ish years.
Yeah.
And then I think the point, what was the initial, what was the last straw, so to speak?
I think we were hitting 30. That's what I think.
Yeah.
It was 30. We were like, okay, we're now 30. What is this? Are we sticking with this? Are we settling down, buying houses, kids, you know, all that sort of thing? Or are we having like one last chase to the true dream type of thing?
Yeah.
And we decided that, yeah. And we went, okay, that's it, done.
So it was the age. Age was the final straw. So when you got on that plane, and you're taking your first flight, how nervous were you? That you've sold everything now. This is it. We've set our path on this. Were the nerves up here? Were you relatively chilled, or what?
Yeah, we were pretty chilled. We
felt good, didn't it?
Felt good. Felt liberating. We were free. We just had our backpacks.
We had nothing.
We had nothing else.
Yeah.
No luggage, so to speak.
Yeah.
And just had a camera. We didn't know how to use it, but yeah.
No, we were ready to go, weren't we?
We were ready to go. We were ready to.
Funny thing was though, we picked Philippines to go. We arrive and it's complete cyclone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or what do you call it? Like a typhoon.
Typhoons.
So we couldn't get to the islands. We were just stuck in Manila. Completely you couldn't even walk outside. It was raining and winding so much. And
for like a week.
Yeah. So we had to we went off for a great start.
Yeah. So we jumped ship and we went to Bali as our first destination.
So you talk about Bali, but you've been to so many other places, Thailand, Croatia, India, just to name a few. What would you say is your favorite place you've been, and what was your least favorite?
Favorite place. It's so hard for this question. I mean, we get asked so many times that we should have a better answer. But I think the most adventurous was India. Yeah. 6 weeks in India, potentially a little bit too long. Very busy and crazy, but culturally amazing.
Amazing people and food, and so far from what we know, you know, so far removed from ourselves. So that really, you know, that was like, we learned so much. But the worst place, that's really hard to say. I mean, no, I do know.
Go on.
Philippines.
For the food.
Yeah, and then Manila. Yeah.
The Philippines are amazing. When you see the videos, you see crystal clear waters and everything.
Yeah.
But at the time we were vegetarian, so we didn't eat meat, and most meals were meat. Yeah. We eat meat now, so maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, now we would love it. Yeah.
But can get quite expensive as well, because you got to go to lots of islands to explore, which can get quite. And obviously we were on a budget on our first year, so I think it's just a combination of those things left a sour taste in our mouth. But the Philippines are amazing. Gorgeous. And beautiful. So yeah. But I think we'll revisit the Philippines and we'll rekindle the love at some point.
Yeah.
So when you're traveling, do you try and go touristy, or do you try and go for that local feel?
We do a bit of both, really. Depending on the country, really.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, like when we travel, it's not like a holiday. Like on holiday, let's say you have your activities, you chill by the pool, you go for some dinner. But if we were to film that it's not so interesting, us just doing laps, you know, in the pool. So we have to think of content as well. So this is where like a tour guide is really useful for us, because we get to learn loads from the local tour guide. We get to see the sites, but that everyone wants to see on YouTube, but also the off the beaten track stuff.
Yeah, because it's a mixture between. We want to sell the country, sell the place, depending on which video we're doing. Let people know what the standard touristic things are, but also that you can go off the beaten path and see amazing islands and mountains and little villages. So it's definitely a big mixture between the two.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool indeed. And obviously everyone can check your videos out on YouTube, because you have been to so many places. But there was a reason why I was so keen to talk to you two, especially because of what we're doing at school, is social media can be a fantastic place, but it can be such a scary place as well, because you are just open to everyone. And especially with you guys, because especially with the birth of Brooke, you've really let people into quite a personal part of your life as well. So you're opening yourself up even more than most people do on social media. So how do you protect yourself from the negative sides and maybe the bad people that can come up? Because for instance, Theodore, I know you've received some weird stuff in the post before as well, but due to certain things you put in place, you sort of protected yourself from that. If you could just go into a bit of detail about that.
Yeah, so we are really open with our feelings and what we're going through, and you know, it's the real us. Like people will feel like they know us, and they do. Like it's literally like we're talking to our friends when we turn on the camera. But there's certain elements that we just keep private, and that's live location. So when we were growing our following, we were kind of naive. We were like, if we checked into a hotel in, you know, Jaipur, we're like, guys, we're here now, and it was a live time. And next thing you know, you start receiving calls from the reception that there's people outside, and that was like a shocker. We were like, no, this is it's not for us, and it's like, no, they're really asking for you, like, you know, they're fans. And
so if we're traveling, we do our stories a day or two behind. That protects us when we're on location.
Also our address and where we live, so you'll be in our house but you won't know exactly what city we live in, or you know where we are, so we try and not show too much so that you can figure out like, hey, I know where they are, because once someone's got it and it's online, it's hard to protect yourself, you know.
And then we get a lot of amazing messages, ultimately very few.
We basically don't have hate, like the protection.
And if we do, most social media sites, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, you can just block those people. And if there's something we don't like that they put, then we just block them. Simple.
Yeah.
And we don't let it get to us.
But I must admit that I don't think we really have hate. And, you know, sometimes you get like a weird comment, you're commenting on something you feel insecure about. And it does get a little bit to me, but there's literally 1 in 1,000 comments, honestly. And we were saying like, oh, why is that? And I think if you are being authentic, then it's you. You're not doing anything weird. So you're true to yourself, so you can't get hurt.
Yeah.
How big were you when you had people turn up? So obviously at the moment you have 180,000 people following you on YouTube. But how big were you when you had that first person turn up at the hotel to see you?
I think it was around 20, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say 20.
Yeah.
About 20,000.
20,000, yes.
Wow. That's really interesting. Yeah. That wouldn't even have crossed my mind to think something like that could happen.
No.
Scary. But were they nice though? When you, obviously I'm not telling people to go meet strangers who turn up at hotels to see them, but did you go and see them, and were they nice, or was it a bit weird?
No. It was
quite late. Scared to death.
We were scared. It was quite late at night, and we just travelled X amount of hours to get there, so we kindly declined. But we've had people in the street recognise us because we just had the birth of our baby daughter. We're in the Netherlands at the moment, and someone in our countryside town actually recognised Theodora the other day in the shop.
Yeah,
we've got people in Dubai say, "Oh, hey guys, your baby, where's my passport?" So and they're lovely.
That's lovely. Yeah, that's lovely. It was just the hotel that first time that we got, the phone call in our hotel room. We were just sat down, showered, you know how you do, and having our room service. We were like, oh my gosh, it's really scary. Like we didn't go down, but now I think we could handle it a lot better now.
Yeah.
We would of course say hi and stuff, but it was so random.
And
you
mentioned your comments. Do you read them all then? Every single comment you get, do you read them all?
In the beginning, to grow,
yes,
we spent hours getting back to every comment.
Yeah.
And now we at least like most of the comments, and we scroll through, but sometimes we get a lot of comments, so it's hard, especially with a newborn, to get back to everyone. But we will get back to.
But we read all of them.
High amount. Then you got better engagement on your videos, and obviously people feel connected.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got millions of, there are obviously bigger YouTubers, and they have to get millions or thousands of comments. It's hard to get back to everyone. It's just so time consuming.
Yeah, it is. It's flooding your DMs. It's hard to get through.
I could imagine. So before we move on and discuss your education, obviously you've mentioned the birth of Brooke. COVID-19 is obviously a big thing. So what is next for Babe Where's My Passport in the near future and distant future?
Yeah, so our baby is 7 weeks old now. It's a big game changer in our lives. So we're trying to navigate that. We're going to be a family travel vlog. We're not going to be constantly traveling because COVID obviously as well, and baby is so young. But we will be doing some traveling. So yeah, it's going to be travel vlogs. We're going to be going to the UK soon to start a different part of a business. So that's going to be interesting. So taking it month by month at the moment because of all those uncertainties.
Yeah, but we won't stop. We will keep going. We'll keep picking up the video camera because I think if anything we'll document more versus create. So it won't be like, okay, we're going to Dubai, we're going to do a travel series and planning it how we used to, for example. It will now be more documenting how we are managing traveling with a baby, and you know, that will be the difference. So it will be a slightly different format, but fun at the same time, and we'll have all those memories also for Brooke to look back on for her. So we'll keep on going.
Oh, that's good. That is amazing, actually, to think that Brooke will see herself grow up there as well, but also good for your fans, I'm sure, to be hearing that as well. So let's move on to your education, and obviously that's what we're here to discuss. You are obviously very successful in YouTube. This is your life. It's how you survive day to day. Now, do you think your school education has helped you become a success in this? Now, before you answer, I do always ask everyone who comes on to be honest. Yes, we are a school, but we are fully aware not everything is learned in school. So I will ask you just once again, do you believe your school education helped you become successful at traveling and obviously vlogging on YouTube?
Yeah, I think, like we said, we both left school at 16 after GCSEs. Theodora obviously studied in the Netherlands. That's where she was brought up. We both weren't great at school.
No,
really
never
bad,
was
really
a good
bad.
student. Never.
And we both didn't want to go to college necessarily
No.
at that age.
No.
We wanted to get out there. I went to the army. Theodora came to England to study. I'm a few years older. And obviously we met, we went traveling, and then we decided to go back to university at a slightly later age.
Yeah, and I think that it's worth mentioning is that we wanted to go to university at that point. So we weren't just following the steps of school, uni, you know, work. We wanted to go to university because we realized, like, okay, we want to get a degree, we want to get better jobs so that we can, you know, have more freedom and etc. So we were interested in our subject and we wanted to go and do it.
And to get that little bit higher level of education. Obviously, we've been out of school for a while, out of education.
Yeah.
So we needed to, get back to school. We had to do maths again, and we had to do English and all that kind of stuff. So it was quite challenging, but brought us up to a high level. So we can communicate now. We can now communicate on that level of business. And obviously, we're doing international business with YouTube and future projects.
Yeah.
So we studied international business studies. So even if it being a different subject, I think that level of education is worth getting. Do you need to do it right after school or college? I don't think that's necessarily needed. I think you can always have a gap year to really find your passion. Definitely need to find your passion and not do what your parents want you to do.
Yeah.
So
I also think it helped for us because it turned out we're actually really good students. We both graduated top of our class. So so I think also our education really helped us in our confidence because it turned out we were actually really good students once we believed in ourselves and we liked the subject and we were engaged in our course. We graduated literally top of our class. So that gave us actually more of belief in ourselves, that we were like, well, actually we're good at anything we put our minds to. So I think that has helped for us. And don't forget, in order to make a job making videos on YouTube, you are having negotiations, you need to quote, you need to go back and forth with business people, pitch,
marketing,
contracts. So it all applied. And so I do think it helped us.
And even though we've got the degree, we've got the piece of paper, we haven't actually used that for a job. you know, which, yeah, you could say, did we even need to go to university? I do think we did, because all those skills,
all those reasons.
even though we haven't actually had to, you know, give a company our
no,
degree.
We didn't have to prove our education, but it helped us in who we are now, I would say. Yeah.
So do you think the reason you were not quite such good students at secondary school and below was because you didn't have that passion then? Do you think that's the sole reason behind why you couldn't connect with school during your younger years?
I know for me, the reason, I always got told that, you know, I had difficulty learning. I was an average student. I should probably not have too many high expectations of myself, that I would never be able to do higher education, that I maybe had to think of something to do with my hands, like hairdressing or something like that. So I believed what I got told. So I think, you know, essentially it was, my teachers to blame, because I believed that story. And the real change was when I went to higher education. I literally believed that, you know, I could do anything I wanted to, and it came true. So I think also the story that you believe is what happens. And with YouTube, we believe that we could make a living out of traveling, but it's a crazy idea. Like, who does that, to give up you know, a good earning business to do that
when you're 30? We're supposed to be settling down at 30. You're supposed to be buying a house, but we went an opposite way.
Yeah, so that was my reason for not being a good student in school.
Yeah, I wasn't a bad student, but I think, a lot of boys maybe towards the end fed up with school and they want to just go out and do their thing. And I had my eyes set on the army for quite a while, so I was ready to dive straight away into that. So school wasn't that of much interest to me at that point, but all came good in the end.
Good. So Theodore, that's quite a sad story read here from those sort of school days. When was sort of the first time a teacher said that to you, that they don't think you're going to do very well?
In the Netherlands, the system is very much performance based. So if you're not doing too good, you have to stay behind and do another year, and that sort of hangs over your head. So it's like perform. And then also it's I mean, my instance, how it went was, I got picked on at school. So one of my bullies would go to the teacher. She was a pet, the teacher's pet, and she would go, how do you think or what level do you think Theodora will study at? Because after your primary school, you go to the secondary school and you'll get lodged into classes of levels. So for example, if you're at a level of C, you'll go to the C school and you'll stay in the class of C. You will never get A, you'll get education given at C.
For all the years.
For all the years. So it's really performance based, that if you want to go to uni, you need to be an A student, keep up the A to get an advice for A, to then be lodged into the A to have the opportunity to study A. So,
and in the UK, we can obviously swap. If we're doing better, then we get moved up into a different class. But you couldn't do that whatsoever. No,
it's literally, how are you?
At what age is that determined?
The advice will be given at around 12.
Yeah, when you're 12 years old.
Yeah, 12, 13. And then you go to your next big school. And if you are not at that level, you can't go higher. That's it. You're gonna go at the level of like hairdressing or something like that. That's what you can do with that level of education, but not higher education. You can't even go to uni. So she asked, "Oh, what level do you think Theodora will be?" And he was like, "Oh, she'll, not above C." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." and then she would go, "Oh, what level do you think I will be?" And he was like, "Oh, well, of course you'll be an A." So I just, and
so that became a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy.
I mean, that would be hit hard enough to hear at any age, but hearing that at like 11, 12 years old, God, that I can't even imagine how much of it obviously hasn't had that big a knock-on effect on you in the grand scheme of things, but in that short period of time at school, I can sort of see why you're saying, you couldn't really get on with it. That's yeah, it's quite shocking.
Yeah, lots of pressure also. So yeah, lots of pressure to perform, and then yeah, with teachers not believing in you. And don't forget, a lot of schools have the pressure to be a high performing school, because you don't really want to be a school who gives D students. You want to be a school where everyone, you know, gets lodged into the A classes. So kids like me who maybe have, you know, need a bit more attention, we fall behind. They tend to focus on the high achievers because they're going to get them, you know, they're going to pull them through as the best school, you know, score wise. So everyone needs to perform, the teachers, the school, the kids. And yeah, if you don't fit in, that's
But on the flip side, Theodora was studying quickly at the top level dance. So she had dance and normal school.
Yeah, but that was after this part. So what?
Okay.
Because I obviously got advice not for A-level education, but because I had dance, kind of like if you have a football scholarship, you know, I had dance and I got into a dance academy, which you need to be A-level for. I got pulled through and I scraped by to get the A-level. But otherwise I would have never been able to do the A-level education, but that saved me. So yeah, that's a good point.
Because my next question was going to be, have you noticed the difference between your educations, obviously doing it in two different countries, but I think that answered that question quite nicely, because I'm sure.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah, because I'm sure, Graeme, like you went for the English education, they do try and encourage and push everyone up as much as possible, whereas that's a shocking story, really, for you, Theodore.
Yeah.
So what is one thing you would wish you did learn at school then, which you would have think would have helped you become successful quicker?
At school,
the couple of things is, I think, motivation, self-belief, how to find what you're passionate about, and those sort of things they do that in the Netherlands. And the Netherlands is really good, by the way. It's just my situation just came out like that. But I think just to find things that you're passionate about. Just real life stuff, like for example, have content in on social media, on YouTube, on cool things to, you know, activate the kids almost to engage, right?
Like talking to YouTubers on podcasts. They're cool things to have on social media, isn't it?
Yes, that's the number. That's literally the perfect example. How cool to broaden the horizons of these kids. Of course, they need to do curriculum, but just to have those interesting things to get them dreaming, to get them excited about something they might want to do, and you know, and then that propels to learn the rest, because you know you want to do what you want to do.
And Graeme, what do you think? One thing you wish you learned?
Difficult question. I think you said a lot of what I would have said. I think just to relate it back to real life, you know, something we learn so much stuff in the curriculum, and I just remember at school thinking, I'm never gonna, for history, I love history now, and I wish I'd been a lot better at history, but at the time I was like, why do I need to know what they did back in the 1700s and stuff, you know? There's but you know, now if I could go back, I would be way more interested, because I love history now. So and just you know, maybe do some more travel. I know the UK don't do that much travel with their education. You know, if I learned about World War II back then, but we had a week in Germany or Poland and we went to, you know, all the different places, that you, as a kid, you're going to be mesmerized, and you're going to be writing essays, and you can really relate that to the subject. So I think trying to make, I don't know, just having more interaction with the subject, and more, why do I need to why am I learning this, and what it's going to be for the future for me, you know, to learn this.
Nice.
I agree with that.
I can see that, how that would be beneficial, definitely. So before we let you go, I always ask two questions to everyone who comes on. The first one being, what is your fondest memory from your days at school?
What's your fondest memory?
Well, there's two things, because the Netherlands are really good in arts projects as well. And what you were saying about going on school trips. So the Netherlands is big on that. So I've been on many trips with my school to like Paris and Germany, and, you know, to learn and go, but also the arts. So I love performing. So we would have like every month, we would have projects where you would prepare presentations, be it dancing or acting or sketches or whatever you wanted to do with the class. You were totally free, and the parents would all come, and it would be like a big theater evening, and I lived for those. That's all I was already thinking about the next month, like, oh, what I'm gonna do next month is we're gonna do Spice Girls, or, you know, whatever. So that I have really good memories of.
I mean, the biggest memory for me at school is I went to an all-boys school for 3 years in Portsmouth, and then we moved locations. So I went to a mixed school at year 10. So going to school with girls for the first time in like 3 or 4 years was like, you know, and being a new kid at school, it was I had a lot of attention. So that was my fondest memory.
Right, okay.
Nothing related to learning, but, you know, I'm just saying that was, I like the female attention at that time.
And if you could pass on one piece of advice to students currently in school right now, whether they're just starting out in primary and infant school or about to leave college, that one piece of advice that you could give to all students, obviously knowing what you know now.
Yeah, do what you want to do, not what your parents want you to do. And you're so young, you can try 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 different things, and you still got time to do anything, you know. Where, you know, I'm 35, Theodora 32, you know, our course of our life might change again, but it doesn't matter. Like, life is to be out there to have experiences. You don't need to do it at 18. You don't have a time frame. You know, you're not gonna die in the next couple of years. So take your time. Don't have too much pressure. Try lots of things, and it's always going to come okay. So experience life and do what you want to do and passion, because you're going to do it for the rest of your life until you retire. So why not have a job now where you already feel retired, but you work in?
Yeah, I would say, you know, to just follow your dreams. That's essentially what you're saying. Just follow your dreams, and if you don't have a dream yet, that's also fine, but then follow Graeme's advice. Just like try loads of different things, and just try to feel in your stomach, like, what gets you excited, what do you want to do when you wake up. And if that's gaming, you know, what people say, oh, you can't focus on gaming, focus on your school, but then look at ways of how to make that your job, or make that something serious, essentially. So follow your dreams. You can fit it in a way that you can. Yeah,
and doing something you like every day is way better than having a bit more money and doing something you don't really like doing every day.
Yeah.
So that's the advice.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic note on follow your dreams and try everything. Brilliant. Before we let you go, could you just tell everyone where they can find you, what platforms you're on, and what handles they can search?
Yeah, so on all social media, it's Babe, Where's My Passport? Because obviously we used to say, Babe, where's my passport? And that was just the name of the YouTube channel and the Instagram and all the rest of it.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedule. All your links will be below, so people can come find you on all those platforms you just mentioned. And have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you for watching our podcast today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to make sure you never miss out on the new ones we post every Monday and Wednesday. If you are interested in enrolling yourself or someone else into the British Online School, be sure to visit our website, britishonlineschool.co.uk, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and send us a direct message there as well. Just use the handle @BritOnlineSchool, spelled SCH, and you can find all our links below. Have a fantastic day, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.